because now the partisanship will begin as we see the Football Association officials beginning to lead the teams up the tunnel. Dave Sexton, you can see on the right there. Terry Neill in the light blue suit on the left. That long walk is underway, and they come into view. Prouder moment for any manager, Brian, than the moment that Terry Neill and Dave Sexton are enjoying at this moment.
It's an incredible feeling. Sometimes it's after years of hard work, obviously, but it's certainly after a season's hard work. It's an achievement just to be here. Obviously, you want to win very, very badly, but getting here is a milestone in any manager's career.
Teams will be presented to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. And the atmosphere is quite remarkable again. I thought it reached its noisiest point a couple of 3 years ago when Manchester United played Liverpool, but if anything, it's even noisier today. And it looks very much as though His Royal Highness, with that beautiful grin, is enjoying it as much as anybody. Getting a great reception from the Wembley crowd as well. And the national anthem. Arsenal, who are presented first. Their skipper Pat Rice, his 4th FA Cup final. Frank Stapleton and Willie Young. It's not easy to hear. Pat Jennings is there, and Graham Ricks, who was a substitute last year. Alan Sunderland. And David Price. Sammy Nilsson. And Brian Talbot, of course, who won here last year with Ipswich. Well, he might set a record by winning 2 successive medals with different sides in successive years. Terry Neill. Well, the way Terry goes on talking, we might delay the start. Oh no, His Highness now coming across to have words with Manchester United. And their skipper Martin Buchan. Young Gary Bailey. Jimmy Nicholl. Young Irish fullback. McIlroy there, and Arthur Albiston. Joe Jordan, big Scottish centre forward, the battering ram that Brian was describing last night. Gordon McQueen. Standing next to Dave Sexton is Brian Greenhoff, who unluckily was injured. I don't know what that's about, Dave Sexton. Well, there's there's only one thing that Jimmy Nicholl wants to do now, and that, with the presentations over, he just wants to get on with it. Ron Chalice, a big moment for the referee and for his two linesmen, Keith Hackett from Sheffield and Harry Dempsey of Chelmsford. Steve Coppell, so many people, well, the two men there, in fact, Steve Coppell and Mickey Thomas, so many people believe that those two men down the wings could present the biggest threat to Arsenal this afternoon, and that's something we shall find out very shortly.
One of the reasons, Brian, for Manchester United's improvement in the last 6 or 7 weeks is that young man, Mickey Thomas. He's provided them with a bit of balance and a bit of flair, and he's quite willing to go wide on the left flank.
Well, they'll be glad of this moment. It's business as usual for them now. And the Arsenal team. Pat Jennings in goal. Pat Rice, Sammy Nelson, Brian Talbot, David O'Leary, Willie Young, fit again, Liam Brady, Alan Sunderland, Frank Stapleton, David Price, Graham Ricks, and the substitute is Steve Walford. Just to run through quickly now the Manchester United side with Gary Bailey in goal, Jimmy Nicholl, Arthur Albiston, Sammy McIlroy, Gordon McQueen, Martin Buchan, Steve Coppell, Jimmy Greenhoff, Joe Jordan, Lou Macari, Mickey Thomas with their substitute and international Brian Greenhoff. And what a contrast between these two goalkeepers. Gary Bailey, well, we've said it often enough, what a confident young man, but if he can emulate the work that Pat Jennings has done for Spurs and for Arsenal over the years, then he's got a tremendous career in front of him. The two big injury doubts of the week concern Willie Young, but he came through with no trouble at all. That's a great boost for the Arsenal back four. But equally, Jimmy Greenhoff, at last put behind him that pelvic strain. He's played only one of the last 10 games, and it was left for him to make the decision, and he told Dave Sexton yesterday morning, "I am fit to play." Well, it's a great moment to crown the refereeing career of Ron Chalice, who's a magazine production manager, 46 years old, from Tunbridge in Kent. Well, just how will Liam Brady perform today? Masked there for a moment, but Arsenal fans will hope not for long. If he's on song, well, Arsenal could do it. If he's not, then maybe it'll be Manchester United's day in their centenary year. Well, there's the man, Mickey Thomas, that Brian was telling us about a moment or two ago. It's his arrival at Old Trafford from Wrexham that has really changed things there. He joined them in November. Now we're a matter of a minute or so away from the start of the 1979 Cup final. Lou Macari. And that's where the worrying will be this afternoon. And what about that, Brian? I think you'd rather be there nonetheless than up here, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. My heart's going for them, actually, now when the kick-off's approaching. What I'd like to see them is, I'd like to see them in a more prominent position so they've got a better view of them than they have. I think management deserve a little bit more than that.
Yes, it's almost impossible to see what's going on, and absolutely impossible to make anyone hear what you want them to hear. It'll be Arsenal then who will attack the goal to our left in the yellow shirts and the blue shorts. And it'll be Manchester United in the red shirts and the white shorts. A place in European football next season is at stake in the Cup Winners' Cup. The prize is a big one. The game is full of promise. And in a moment, Ron Chalice will blow that first blast of his whistle. And away we go. Arsenal then kicking off, attacking that goal to our left. O'Leary, one of the calmest men in the game, only 21 years old. Oh, he slipped badly there, though. A lot of rain yesterday, but it's bright and it's beautiful today. Willie Young thumping that ball away. Here's Albiston with the header. Talbot. Stapleton. Well, there's a nasty old collision on the far side there. And that's left a player from either side in a bit of trouble. Frank Stapleton is one. I'm not sure who the Manchester United player is. Oh, Jimmy Greenhoff. Well, Brian, that's going to be desperate news if somebody is out of the game there.
Yeah, I think they're both all right, obviously. There was a little bit of niggle just before that with Joe Jordan and an Arsenal...
Here we are, Brian. We can look at it again now. Yes, it was Frank Stapleton going through, and
it was just Stapleton's,
yes,
it was just Stapleton's anxiety to get into the game, Ryan. There was certainly nothing intentional, but it was a collision, obviously. I think they're both all right.
Well, certainly Dave Sexton will hope so. Jimmy Greenhoff is the one who's been the real problem. Well, cheers to the Manchester United fans as Jimmy gets to his feet. And of course, Frank Stapleton, with 18 goals this season and 5 of them in the Cup, is just as important for Arsenal. But Brian was right, they're both okay.
It's not very often you see two strikers tangling on the halfway line.
But it's a free kick to Manchester United. The challenge by Stapleton was unfair. Here's Martin Buchan now. Jimmy Nicholl playing it forward. And a flag for Joe Jordan, who'd come back from an offside position. But Joe with 10 goals this season. He was injured in November and missed a fair bit of this season. Well, he's got a touch of the ball, but Gary Bailey, who badly would want a touch of the ball at the other end of the field, well, so far none of the action has come his way. And again, two players have slipped down, Stapleton and McQueen. It must be a little bit tricky maybe on the surface. O'Leary playing it back for Jennings. Nodded on by Price. Stapleton, McQueen's header. McIlroy, Price again. Stapleton getting in well there, and so too did Albiston for Manchester United. And now the young man gets his first touch of the ball, and well, the United fans are cheering that. I think no matter who you support, you half hope in your heart that young Gary Bailey has a sort of day that he might remember with a certain amount of pleasure. It's a free kick for Manchester United. It's with Nicholl. And Young sticking close there to Jordan. And a throw to Manchester United. With it. To Jimmy Greenhoff. And the flag again. Mr. Dempsey of Chelmsford. Brady. Nelson. A bit straight at Nicholl though. Brady trying to control it. It came to him a little quicker than he wanted, I think, and he was fouled in any case by Macari. It's a free kick for Arsenal. Brady lingering rather deep in these opening moments of the game. Price. And here's Albiston playing the ball forward to Big Joe Jordan. McIlroy's made a brilliantly timed run, and Jimmy Greenhoff's in the middle if he can find him. But Talbot is there for Arsenal. Oh. Dangerous game to play in your own penalty area, but Talbot, oh, he almost got himself out of it. In fact, it's a goal kick. But a great run there by McIlroy that almost opened up Arsenal.
I think Brian, Arsenal are trying to pace themselves a little bit better than Manchester United, and I would have thought that this is Manchester United's best part of the match. The part where they could come into it really well. when you see Brady in a left-back position, then they're certainly going to try and be patient all afternoon.
McQueen again powerful and dominant in the air. Jimmy Greenhoff playing it though straight to Pat Rice. Sunderland trying to come off his man Albiston. Price. And that's out of play. McQueen.
There's a lot of nerves out there, Brian, at the moment. I thought we were going to see the first little bit of aggression there, but Gordon McQueen checked out and played it back to the goalkeeper.
O'Leary's header going into touch. McIlroy, look at the space here for McQueen, though. There's a little bit of aggression, and a shot, though, that is way off the mark. Well taken in the air there by Sunderland, but here's McQueen again, trying to float it in there for Joe Jordan, beating Willie Young in the air that time. Rice, Sunderland, and a foul against Alan Sunderland as he jumped in there, trying to head the ball on. A free kick to Arsenal. And again Brady as a back four man there. But Willie Young's right up there amongst the front men. Stapleton. And this is going to be Jimmy Nicholl with a chance to clear it and find Lou Macari. Coppell playing it on towards Jimmy Greenhoff. A beautifully cushioned header there for Sammy McIlroy. Good ball here for Thomas. But it's checked by Pat Rice. That's twice Sammy McIlroy has been involved in very promising looking Manchester United moves. A throw for United on the far side. Thomas. Corner. So the first corner of the game, McIlroy will take it. McQueen has come right up onto the goal line in front of Pat Jennings. Jimmy Greenhoff's at the far post. Macari and Jordan, needless to say, Jordan is lurking in there. Now McIlroy with the corner for Manchester United, curling in there wickedly towards Joe Jordan. But Willie Young was sufficient of a barrier to prevent Big Joe getting a clear header, and in fact he probably knocked it onto the back of Young's head. And that hurt.
Psychologically, Brian, I never like to see 11 players in their own penalty area. And Arsenal had 11 back then, the whole 11. I think it's bad for morale.
It's bad for Arsenal's morale to have to bring that many.
Yes, from a corner situation. You're entitled with as much ability as the Arsenal players have got to leave somebody up the field.
I think, in fact, Jordan and Willie Young hit each other with such force that Willie, at any rate, has got to have a bit of attention.
He's bleeding, this lad.
Yes, he is. So on will come Fred Street. Joe's all right.
I'm not sure whether Joe hit him with his head or bit him with those teeth.
Two great big Scots who will give everything to this game, you can be sure of it. 10 minutes gone, and fairly haphazard, nondescript fare so far. With Manchester United having slightly the better of things so far. Stapleton with that header. Sunderland nicely on his body. Talbot trying to play it through. Macari playing it back. Nicholl just whacking it away. There's Jordan and Willie Young going for it again. I'm not at all sure that Willie didn't get Joe's head in the face that time. Jimmy Nicholl. Macari. Buchan. Should be Rice's ball. He thought about the header, felt that he could probably do something better this way. McQueen beaten in the air that time by Sunderland, but Stapleton couldn't keep it in.
Sunderland's timing for a little man, when he's not really considered a striker, he's just pushed up there because of Arsenal's injury problems. His timing for a little man is magnificent. That's the 4th time he's beaten a defender in the air, and all defenders get a little bit nervous when this happens.
United throw. Steps Gary Bailey took there. Nelson's header. And Sunderland's again, good timing getting it in the air. Now Brady with Macari snapping at him. I wonder if that's going to be the sort of thing we shall see for 90 minutes, that Macari will need to stick close to Brady when he's in the midfield there. Price going right in there. And turning it back. And a goal! And it's going to be, well, either Talbot or Sunderland. Themselves, but it's in the back of the net. The first piece of work that Gary Bailey had to do, and really he stood no chance with it. Price getting past his man, Bailey plunging out. As they went in there, it looks like Sunderland, in fact.
Yeah, it was a good goal as well. Buchan didn't do too well there in the defensive position, and Sunderland's earned that goal actually with his contribution already.
And there it is. Arsenal leading by a 1-0 with 12 minutes gone. And now Thomas. Crossed in once more, and Price nodding it away, only as far as Albiston. And that's a goal kick. Well, there's the man who finally put it in there. He got there just a fraction of a second before Brian Talbot, who was really charging in there. Well, there are the two of them. Between them, forced that error out of Manchester United. And Gary Bailey, of course, completely exposed with no chance at all, Brian.
Well, there was no way the lad could be blamed at all for that. He didn't stand a chance.
Throw to Arsenal, and silence at the Manchester United end of the moment. Well, we're not seeing many flags there, but at the Arsenal end the flags are absolutely dominating Wembley. Nelson winning it. Macari. Coppell. O'Leary going with him. Played in early there by Nicholl towards Joe Jordan, and McIlroy trying to turn it back. Oh my goodness, and Mickey Thomas very nearly getting an equaliser. McIlroy again involved.
It was a tantalising cross this was, and the centre half young missed it altogether. Joe Jordan did well there. Bit lucky Pat Jennings to be there.
Quarter of an hour gone, Arsenal leading a 0-0. I notice the scoreboard, in fact, is now crediting Talbot with the goal, having originally put Sunderland up there. So if there was a doubt in my mind, there was a doubt in Wembley's mind as well. But there's no doubt that Brady has the ball now. Here's Price. Looked like a handball, but play on. Brady again. 1-2 going with Talbot. Trying to force his way through, and no trouble there for Bailey. Of course, Manchester United were a goal down quite early on against Liverpool and fought back brilliantly in that first semi-final at Main Road. Free kick. Well, the scoreboard says it was Brian Talbot who scored it. Free kick then to Manchester United. Thomas with it. No, running over it. McIlroy curling it in once more towards Joe Jordan. Oh, well, that was a little too close to comfort for Arsenal. Jordan winning that in the air well from Willie Young. McIlroy's curling free kick. And not a lot to spare. In fact, you almost had the impression that Pat Jennings tipped that one over. But he couldn't have done because it's a goal kick. Greenhoff. Albiston. That's probably a free kick for a handball by Greenhoff. We haven't said an awful lot about David O'Leary, Brian, so far in our build-up to this, but he's a tremendous young player, isn't he, with a good job to do here today. I'm surprised he's not taking Joe Jordan a bit more. Obviously he's not. It's Willie Young's job to look after Joe Jordan. Well, Willie's had a last couple of months injury and all that type of thing, and he's not getting off the floor as well as he should for a centre-half. It'll be worth interesting to see if they switch later on. McQueen winning it in the air again. Thomas. Certainly Willie Young at the moment keeping a close watch on Joe Jordan, even when Jordan goes fairly deep. That's Talbot's header for Stapleton. Hesitated for a moment, and Thomas went in with great determination. It's a United throw. Albiston. Brady called for that one. He really wants a bit of the action, but that time it's cut out by Buchan. Here's Nicholl. That bounced kindly for him. Now, can he find a cross? That's a lovely cross by him too, and Coppell very nearly got on the end of it. Thomas heading it in, no trouble for Jennings. Coppell very nearly getting on the end of that, but a good piece of work by Nicholl there, Brian.
Yeah, it's the first time he's had a chance to get forward. In fact, I think if Manchester United are going to do anything this afternoon, it's going to be down this right flank.
And with a quarter of an hour of the Scottish Cup final having passed, it's 0-0 between Rangers and Hibs. Here it's 1-0 to Arsenal. It's a free kick. McIlroy thought it was a throw, and Arthur Albiston will take it. Jimmy Greenhoff. And another throw for United. McIlroy. That's a corner now for Manchester United. Sunderland right back to help out. Watching Jimmy Greenhoff. Again, that curling corner from McIlroy again. McQueen is in there, and Jimmy Greenhoff very nearly got a decisive touch to it. Mickey Thomas turning it in, and Pat Rice getting it away. McIlroy trying to make something of it, and in the end, Rice happy to hit it almost up Empire Way, except that it's still in play. Talbot looking for a bit of breathing space, but they're not getting any at the moment, and here's the ball coming in again towards Big Joe Jordan, and both he and Willie Young missed it. And Jennings keeping the ball in play. It's with Ricks. In with Nicholl, and as well for Jennings, but he got back fairly quickly because that ball was going towards the goal. Now Brady, still very deep. Arsenal having been forced back by that United onslaught. McQueen going in, yes, a foul. Always had to be a foul. So Arsenal's free kick. Brady. Rice. Buchan in there. Now Talbot. Now Ricks. Nelson's thundering outside him, acting as a decoy, and Bailey got down well. That was really slicing along the turf there from Graham Ricks. Oh, deliberate obstruction there by Pat Rice. And it's going to be a yellow card at Wembley for Pat Rice.
A little bit harsh there, Brian. Yellow card. He intended impeding the young man when he found out he couldn't get the ball, but that is a little bit harsh.
Except the purists would say if he intended doing it, he probably got his just desserts, Brian.
Well, he mistimed it.
Albiston with the free kick. Joe Jordan again winning it in the air, and as Brian was saying a moment ago, it's significant the number of times that Big Joe is getting up above Big Willie. In fact, I noticed Don Howe shouting from the bench and wagging his head as much as to say to Willie Young, get up there and head him away. David O'Leary, and a Manchester United throw. Extraordinary, they've had halfway through the first half, and it's been dominated in terms of territorial advantage by United, but they find themselves a goal down. Arsenal leading 1-0. And a throw for Manchester United. Greenhoff. Cut in there again towards Willie Young, and again Joe Jordan was up above him. His timing was better, and his leaping ability was better. And there's a worry on the bench there. Don Howe explaining to somebody sitting behind Terry Neill that things aren't as they should be in that defence.
I'm not quite sure what he's getting annoyed at, because there's only one way to avoid crosses like that, Brian, is to get the ball in the opponent's half, and Arsenal are conceding territory to the Manchester United team at will. And Joe Jordan is only a threat in the opposition's box. He's not a threat anywhere else.
But having said that, it is significant the number of times this fella here, Joe Jordan, is getting above Willie Young.
Oh yes, I don't think Willie Young's headed the ball yet. I think Joe Jordan's won every contest at the moment.
But here at Arsenal in a bit of space, Ricks with a shot, and Bailey once more with a save. I've got to say this, that although Gary Bailey's first real job was to pick the ball out of the net, he has composed himself, and they've not been difficult saves, but he's done his job well since then. So Martin Buchan, the captain of Manchester United, needing to rally his men to get them back into this game now, get this equaliser. Well, he was lumping in the back of Stapleton there, and I think it was an advantage play by Ron Chalice, thinking that Arsenal might get something out of it. McIlroy's header. Coppell coming in, completely misjudging the bounce there. Oh, and Jordan going in on the back of Sammy Nelson. And their tempers held, just in time, I fancy. Quick word from Ron Chalice to Jordan. Brady. Young. Brady. O'Leary. Ricks. That time it was McIlroy who was on the ground there after a little confrontation with Talbot, and well, Nelson went in hard there, but Jordan managed to hurdle him, and it's getting just that little bit edgy out there at the moment. Brian?
The tackles are coming in a little bit more now than they were in the first quarter of an hour. I think they're fighting for territorial advantage. It's essential Manchester United get back in, not get back in the game, but get in with the goal, because they're well in with the game now. Well done, Willie.
Willie Young won that one in the air. But here are Manchester United on the ball again with Macari. Now Thomas. Here's Nicholl. Played in firmly there, but Nelson intercepting and finding Ricks. A nice touch there by Ricks for Brady. And Macari back there. Oh. Well, I think that was a collision of two small men who were battling so hard for that one ball. But a free kick given to Manchester United.
I think it was a good decision, Brian.
Yes, Brady with his arm on the shoulder, you could see. Jimmy Greenhoff heading it in towards Joe Jordan, and indeed he'd handled the ball as he tried to make ground to it. But there are moments when they are looking very dangerous coming forward, Manchester United.
Manchester United is surprisingly confident, having conceded that early goal, and they're looking as though they could get an equaliser.
Buchan. Brady winning it in the air well above Macari, who's a good header of the ball himself. There's Jordan up again there with Willie Young. Stapleton, nice control, but Price couldn't quite gather the ball up, so McIlroy playing the simple one there for Thomas, played inside for off the head of Greenhoff as he fell. A foul by Talbot on McIlroy, a free kick again. Coppell, Jordan versus Young, and the linesman flagging for a foul on Joe Jordan by Willie Young. And it's going to need some careful watching, I think, by Ron Chalice from now on. Well, I suppose the same might apply to any cup final, but you get the feeling about this one, the smell of physical actions here, and I think Ron Chalice must know that he's got a stamp down on everything. A free kick, though, for Manchester United at the moment. Coppell. Hit towards Jordan again, and a foul that time by Jordan. Or maybe by McQueen, who'd gone up. Arsenal's throw. Coming up to the half hour. It's Coppell. And Brady doing the tackling back, but Coppell's got by him. That's a foul. That's a free kick by Ricks on Coppell. football, the crowd are shouting. Well, they're not happy with some of the challenges that are being made by both sides, let it be said, at the moment. Steve Coppell, if it's his day, then there could be some trouble for Arsenal, even though they lead 1-0. Dangerous little player down this right flank, but it's Macari who's occupying that position at the moment. Nicholl playing it in towards Joe Jordan, dumbing underneath it, and it might come for Greenhoff just over the top. What a beautifully worked move, though, by Manchester United, involving Mickey Thomas as well. Stretching exercises at the other end for Gary Bailey, but Arsenal were at full stretch here. Thomas just nodding it in there, and what a good turn by Greenhoff, just a little too high.
That was the nearest they come to scoring, Manchester United, but they are looking increasingly dangerous.
Brady, Ricks, Stapleton, Nelson. Brady missing out again. Macari, Nicholl, getting the ball to Jordan. Coppell struggling to get there, but so far as United are concerned, they just go on playing the way they are now and hoping and believing that their chance will come. Brian, is that it?
Oh yes, they don't have any choice actually. Things are going very well for them, particularly down our side of the field.
Throw to Arsenal now. Brady, now Nelson. In with the right foot this time, and my word, Mickey Thomas's feet were a bit high there. Coppell just nicking it away there. Jordan with his strength trying to help it on, but it'll fall here for Nelson. And back by Buchan to Bailey. Albiston. Jordan. Played short instead to Arthur Albiston. Played in for Greenhoff. And Willie Young getting in well there. A timely interception that for Arsenal when Greenhoff began to look a bit dangerous. It's Stapleton for the long legs of McQueen. And in the end, it's Rice putting it away. And in fact, putting it away off Albiston for an Arsenal throw.
That was an easy defensive situation for Martin Buchan then, but if it had shown the same urgency in the first 10 minutes, Manchester United wouldn't be 1-0 down now.
You make it Buchan's mistake that is, at the moment, cost them this situation.
It's definitely the difference between the two sides. The Arsenal lads haven't made any mistakes in there, and they've been under 30 minutes of pressure. Buchan definitely conceded the goal.
Brady. Now Ricks. Sunderland. And an Arsenal throw. For Nelson. Again, a good-looking cross there. Oh, my word! Stapleton so close to a really spectacular goal there. Nelson's cross. Almost straight out of the European Gymnastics Championship, that. Now Greenhoff. Coppell. Greenhoff again. Certainly showing himself to be 100% fit after those scares this week. Although he won't have relished that challenge by O'Leary, which the linesman claimed was a challenge from behind, which Arsenal hotly disputed. Greenhoff looking very lively, and O'Leary quick with that challenge there. An unfair one, a free kick to Manchester United. Will it be Coppell or will it be Nicholl? It's Coppell, in fact, who hits it in there towards Gordon McQueen. Nodded down there, and Macari getting in there before Pat Rice, but heading it straight at Pat Jennings. Interesting to see how quickly it is that Macari gets in here. Rice just off him for a moment. In fact, he slipped just a fraction. Brady. And in the Scottish Cup final, it's still 0-0 after half an hour between Rangers and Hibs. Macari. Albiston. McIlroy. Macari again. Thomas. They're certainly playing the football, Manchester United, and Willie Young getting in the way of that cross to concede another corner. So 8 minutes to go to half-time. And here he comes again.
There's a lot of bodies in that goal penalty area, Brian. It might cost Arsenal dearly.
McIlroy again, that curling corner, and it's in the back of it. No, it's disallowed. A foul on Jennings. Disallowed. McQueen got the header in, looks disappointed, and we've got a beautiful view of it now. Was there a foul on Pat Jennings here? Or was it indeed a handball? Rubbed out, whatever it was. The whistles from the Manchester United fans, the relief of Arsenal. McQueen. Well, Dave Sexton there looks relatively relaxed. His side a goal down in a cup final. Maybe he's pleased with the way his side are performing, even though they are this goal down. But here's Talbot. And that's a goal kick. And even though they're this goal up, Brian, Arsenal really haven't done themselves justice yet, have they?
They're not pushing men forward, and physically Manchester United look far the stronger side. They're a lot more sprightly. They're eager for the ball, and I think Arsenal are playing far too deep. I think it's taking coaching to its extreme. They're trying to consolidate. I can understand patience. I can understand them not wanting to give anything away, but they're surrendering the initiative too much to a Manchester United team.
McIlroy to Albiston. Flag waving on this side for an offside. The referee acknowledged it, saw that Arsenal were in possession and kept the game going. O'Leary. Long raking stride of his, finding Alan Sunderland. And look at O'Leary continuing his run, and Thomas going right back there with him. And in fact, it must have just nicked off O'Leary to give Manchester United the throw. Five minutes to half-time. It's Nelson. Ricks. Nice skill. Left Nicholl on the seat of his pants. But he tried it again and it didn't come off. And now Jordan versus Young. Jordan playing it inside, but too close to Rice, who'd come across well there to cover. And here he is again, the Arsenal captain and number 2. Nelson, yes. I think Yeah, Rice, in fact, had played it too short to Nelson and then had to hold off the Manchester United player, obstruction given. So Nicholl with a kick. Nicholl again, and offside. United hadn't got back quickly enough. And yet it's still a cup final that really hasn't caught fire yet.
Well, there's two teams vying for positions and supremacy and all that type of thing. And I'll tell you what, it's hellishly hot out there.
It's so easy to play up here. O'Leary with the free kick. Jordan up again. Again, a player slipping. But Thomas, having slipped, fights back and wins the ball over Willie Young's head. And I think maybe a foul on Willie Young by Jimmy Greenhoff. As we come towards half-time, Brian, you were saying before the game you thought it looked as though Arsenal were a side who were coming to do a job here, and you fancied them to win, and they are indeed winning.
They're doing it at the moment. They're doing the job very, very adequately. But I'll repeat what I said. I'm just a little bit perturbed about how deep they're doing and how much they're having to defend. It'll depend on half-time.
Slipped by Nicholl there, and Ricks is in. And in the end, it was Albiston who got it away, and got it away with some profit there, finding Mickey Thomas. Albiston linking up again. McIlroy's gone forward. Here's Thomas once more, being persuaded to go down that wing, and look at the space. They're backing off once more. And it was O'Leary's trusty boot that got it away. And United had got a few men forward. Now it's Arsenal's turn to counter-attack with Brian Talbot. Rice going outside him. Here's Brady. It's going all the way. Can he find the shot or the cross? There's the little cross coming in, and that's number 2 by Stapleton. Made by Brady. In the end, quite a simple header for Frank Stapleton. There's Brady shrugging them all off, and then looking up to see what's on. Look at the space for Stapleton on the left of the picture there as well. And in the end, a simple header. Brian?
Yes, they took them apart. Brady resisted challenges time after time again. There's one. Goes around somebody else too. But this is where all the hard work comes now. He's even got time to look up and place that across. Looked easy, but it wasn't easy.
So right on the stroke of half-time, maybe the killer blow struck for Arsenal by Frank Stapleton. Oh, and McIlroy getting involved with Talbot, and there's a bit of bumping and barging going on there. And the referee calling Brian Talbot to him. And now having a word with McIlroy as well. He wants both of them together, and quite rightly so. It was absolutely stupid. They were getting involved long after the referee had stopped the game there. And a free kick to Manchester United. We're into injury time at the end of the first half. And the free kick will have to go back. It was taken about 5 or 6 yards too far forward. Well, there's a good deal of joy emanating from the North London areas now. Coppell now for Manchester United. Can they retrieve something before half-time? That's a good cross by Coppell, and McQueen's waiting at the other end, but so too was Willie Young. And Stapleton, the man who scored that second goal, is there to play it back to Jennings. And here's Brady again. It was the first real genuine flash of Brady that we saw. And it's the one that has now put Arsenal nicely in the clear. Buchan getting back there to turn it away.
I think it was nearly the first time, Brian, he was in and around the opposition's box to portray his skill. I've seen him in the left-back position that many times. I thought I was getting mixed up between him and Nelson.
Well, you're right, and he did his job, though, when it really mattered there. Right on the stroke of half-time. Really telling thrust and a beautiful cross. And here's a throw now for Arsenal. And Gary Bailey grabbing it. Coppell. Played towards Jimmy Greenhoff. It's got to be some comeback now for Manchester United. But here's Coppell. Ricks chasing back and denying the little Manchester United winger. As the half-time whistle goes, and what a good first half in the end it's turned out to be for Arsenal. With Sunderland, although the scoreboard says Brian Talbot, and there's certainly a doubt, I think, in everybody's mind about that one. That's what put them on the way. And then Frank Stapleton just going through the camera there, getting the second with the header after a fine piece of work by Liam Brady, making it 2-0 for Arsenal. March off, the players are back on. Willie Young, who had that tremendous battle in the first half. Brian Clough, Jack Charlton was saying at half-time he thinks Manchester United need just one goal now to get really back in this game and turn it upside down. Is it a goal you can see them getting?
Well, the way they played in the last quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, I can see them getting it, and I think it'll come from Coppell if they're going to get one. He's been in tremendous form the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the first half. There's always a possibility, of course, that Arsenal will get a third one, but I do fancy Manchester United to score a goal.
Well, Dave Sexton just left the bench for a moment to have a word with Steve Coppell on the sidelines, but now we're all ready to start the second half. Well, will Coppell be the man? And away we go at the start of the second half. Manchester United in their red shirts attacking the goal to our left. 2 goals down. And Jordan, as Willie Young slipped for just a moment. But Nelson was there to do the repair job for Arsenal, and Brady was right back there. What a nice bit of play by him, finding Ricks and then whacking the ball forward, but not before it had gone out of play. So a throw to Manchester United, who will be looking desperately for this goal to get themselves right back into this worst FA Cup final. And to get it early enough in this second half to give them a chance to build on that, to repair the damage still more. The cross in by Nicholl towards Joe Jordan, and it just fell wide of Mickey Thomas. Here's Arthur Albiston, the young Scot who's done well at left back for them again today. That's a good cross coming in there towards Jimmy Greenhoff, and Albiston again with a chance to poke it in once more, but O'Leary getting that one away as Jennings came roaring off his line calling for the ball. Now Price had such a big part to play in that first Arsenal goal. A foul though by McIlroy on Talbot. I feeling there's a certain amount of aggravation between the two of them. It was in the first half, and McIlroy really went in on him there. O'Leary with the kick. Hit towards Stapleton. Here's Sunderland. Played back again towards Stapleton. Now for Brady. Oh, and that sliced its way past a section of the Manchester United defence, but not past Jimmy Nicholl. Nelson's throw to Sunderland. Bailey only half pawing that one away. And Thomas losing out there to Price, but winning in the end, but a throw to Arsenal. Well, he mustn't let through another one, and he's got to try and get one. Talbot with Arsenal's throw towards the near post. McQueen winning it quite comfortably in the air. Jimmy Greenhoff getting it away. Willie Young for Arsenal, and a throw to Manchester United. Coppell down this left-hand side. Albiston, that's a corner coming off David Price. Again, McQueen faithfully going forward to present a double threat in the air. He and Jordan, and McQueen right in there. The timing of his run was perfect, and Arsenal must have been unaware how quickly he was coming in. If he'd got above that just a little bit more, then that would certainly have been 2-1. There he goes. Brian?
It's a good chance, actually. He tried to head it too high and too fast. A little bit more of a placement would have got Manchester United back in the game then.
McQueen finding Brady. Albiston. Nicholl. That's a good ball there for Albiston. Kept it in well there towards Thomas. Across the goal there, and Rice got it away. And Macari couldn't quite get on the end of that one. But Thomas was liveliness itself then. And his energy very nearly got that equaliser for Arsenal. Pulled across the goal there, and Rice, there's Thomas, and it was Rice in the end who got it away. And the United fans doing all they can at any rate to inspire their team to get that first important goal. Buchan letting it go, and it bobbled as well. Wasn't much margin for error there. Away goes Martin Buchan. That's a good ball there to McIlroy, and he tried to play it on for Jordan. It's really the pattern of the first half being repeated, isn't it?
It's Manchester United's enthusiasm against Arsenal's patience again. They're inviting the Manchester United lads to come forward, hoping they'll get a similar goal to the one they got just before half-time.
McIlroy. Thomas. Not a good ball. Straight to Willie Young. McQueen. Greenhoff. Nicholl. Macari. Nice turn. Played it just a little too far away from him. It was always a struggle to get to that last touch. But here's Brady. Shaking off Thomas. Oh, shook him off again. And a shot charged down by Buchan in the end. But Brady will not be denied, except that the pass to Ricks was impossible. Macari. Young and Jordan. And a free kick for a foul by Jordan on Willie Young. Well, Brian Greenhoff looks as though he's preparing at some time in the near future to come on. Really what United want at the moment is somebody who can turn the ball into the net for them. And great-hearted player though Brian Greenhoff is, as a defender and a midfielder, he's not exactly a goal scorer, although he did of course get one against Liverpool in the first semi-final. What about a substitution, Brian?
No, I don't think anybody will dare risk one at this particular time. Obviously, if somebody gets injured, you have to do it, but nobody will do it this early. Dave Sexton's got a bit of a problem, actually. His side's going so well and losing 2-0. And that's a hell of a frustration when he manages a side. He wants it to continue, yet he knows he's got to get a goal. I don't think he can do anything now. I think he can just have to sit back and hope they score a goal. And I hope they do personally, because they're contributing a lot to a good game.
It's Price now contributing something for Arsenal and finding Sunderland. A good ball played in there, and Gary Bailey down well and bravely as Stapleton came in. Yes, it must be agonising for a manager when there is absolutely nothing he can do now.
No, he's just got to sit back and hope for a concentrated effort as he's getting now, and possibly a bit of luck to give them a goal. Good battle, Brian, between these two, Young and Jordan.
Yes, very good indeed. Coppell, though, it's not a good cross, that's a goal kick. And Willie Young, you've got to give him credit, has battled well. He had a terrible time in the first quarter of an hour against Joe Jordan, but he's not given Joe quite as much, so many possibilities in the last part of the first half, or indeed in this second half.
No, and I'll tell you why as well. He's an honest player. A less honest player would have gone under by now, but he's an honest player. He just keeps plugging away, no frills, and he'll keep trying to get off his feet till 20-5.
Stapleton's backward header, Sunderland. Stapleton again. Sunderland. Stapleton, a bit of space here now for Arsenal, and Talbot's right up in the box there. Mickey Thomas was back, though. Kept in play, a little luckily there for Arsenal, falling for Stapleton. Now, can they make the most of that bit of luck? Well, I don't think it's out of play yet. Yes, it is now. Goal kick. Young versus Jordan. And a free kick given to Willie Young that time. Well, the first 10 minutes of the second half have gone by, 10 minutes in which United would have really hoped to have pulled one of those goals back. And a free kick's been given to, I imagine, to Manchester United for an incident that happened after the ball had gone between Talbot and Buchan, and a handshake and a sharp word from the referee.
I'm a bit surprised about this lad Talbot, because he's out of character altogether for him, Brian. He's a pleasant young man and he's a very honest player. He's not doing himself justice getting involved with little niggles like this.
Now he's been involved with McIlroy, and now he's been involved with Buchan. Nicholl. And now Nelson. Suddenly a little bit in the clear, with Rick supporting him. A little first-time chip on there for Talbot. And McIlroy with him, and that time it's a foul on Brian Talbot and a free kick for Arsenal. So is this more pressure on Bailey? Willie Young is up there. Brady chipping it in, not doing very well. And Nelson gathering it up for Arsenal. Rice hustled by Greenhoff. And the ball played a long way back to Pat Jennings, and certainly no sign of Manchester United heads dropping. Stapleton, can he get away from McQueen? Held him up just long enough, but here's Brady. Ricks outside him. There's the beautifully weighted ball for Graham Ricks, and a lovely little chip from him towards Stapleton, and in fact it was the knees of Gary Bailey, and almost a replica of Arsenal's second goal. Gary Bailey coming across there to smother it. In fact, the ball came off his knees, and it's a corner for Arsenal. Because it was a lovely ball by Brady for Ricks, and a really delightful little floater from Graham Ricks. Ricks with the corner, and Buchan with a header behind, a moment when he really had to be dominant, with both O'Leary and Stapleton menacing at that near post. Of course, if Arsenal get through once more, then clearly it's going to be all up for Manchester United. Ricks once more with a corner, anxious faces at the near post. Joe Jordan getting it away with some power to Steve Coppell. Played on for Jimmy Greenhoff, hit first time Nicholl. Again first time, but this time to Willie Young. Nicholl saved the day, and here's McQueen seizing on that possibility and finding Sammy McIlroy. Really attacking Nelson there. Rice cutting it out well. No foul, good decision. Thomas. It's a cross by him towards Macari, tipped away by Jennings. Pat Rice having a go at Willie Young there, but he can't be everywhere, and he's looked after Jordan so well, but Thomas playing it on there, and little Macari, for a small man, such a good header of the ball, tipped away by Big Pat. Yeah, they were a bit annoyed with Willie Young for not coming out. Well, Jennings certainly came out there and gave it a bit of the fist. Jordan playing it back for McIlroy again. Stopped though by Talbot, and here's Brady for Arsenal. Ricks is up alongside him, and so is Talbot. Quarter of an hour of the second half gone. Arsenal still leading 2-0. It's Arsenal's ball again with Stapleton. Cross, and Rice was right up there in that 6-yard area too. Brady. Stopped by McIlroy. Arsenal having a good little spell of attacking here now, forcing Manchester United back. Stapleton once more on the ball for them, chipping it in there, well saved by Bailey, and not only that, a good quick throw, beautifully placed for Coppell. Thomas is up there, Greenhoff's up there, Jordan's in there. Well, disappointment all around. Coppell switching it, hoping that either Sammy McIlroy or Mickey Thomas would get to it. It's a battle of the survival of the fittest at the moment, Brian, out there. Certainly United are still giving it everything. Bailey. Nicholl. It's Jordan fouled there. Good decision by the referee. In fact, Ron Challis had a good game. You agree, Brian?
Yes, what's happened is every decision he's had to make has been right on the spot, and nobody can argue with that. He's within 5 yards of the action at all times, and at 46, that can't be bad.
But now a free kick for Manchester United. McIlroy over it. Thomas playing it short for Albiston to blast it. Goal kick.
A bit ambitious, but typical young man's approach. That it's good to see. I hope United get a goal, because they've contributed so much to this final. The willingness to get forward, the willingness to attack. I know it takes two teams to make a cup final, and the contrast here is vast. But Manchester United have earned a goal.
Brady just lifting that off the head of Macari. Nelson nodding it down for Ricks. Stapleton. Ricks. Oh, he's gone past them all until McIlroy gets there. Stapleton seems to be playing much more over on the left flank in this second half. He's coming into the middle now, but he's been making a few runs down the left flank, Brian.
Yeah, he's finding gaps down there now. Brady's gone a little bit deeper again, and I think they've pushed Stapleton out there.
But young. Coppell's good jump has left him a little bit injured, I think, there by the touchline, but not seriously.
If ever Manchester United now want an inspirational goal from Jimmy Greenhoff, by hell they need it now.
Well, he scored 17 this season, 5 in the Cup. He scored in every round bar one. And as you say, they need it now. But McIlroy thought for a moment that he might be in there until Talbot got in. What an amazing record for this young man, having won with Ipswich here last year. If he wins here with Arsenal today, that really does set a record. Thomas.
McQueen wants that ball tossed in. There's a lot of bodies in that penalty area, and he knows one break and they can get a goal. The whole Arsenal side are back defending.
McQueen got the header in there, and Jordan tried to turn it back. Minutes of the second half gone. 25 left now for Manchester United to retrieve this situation of being 2 down, and for their fine attacking football to pay off. Well, from the Royal Box, Louis Edwards on the left, the Manchester United chairman looking at his watch. His Highness having a quick look at his watch as well. But here's Coppell having a quick look at the ball, and O'Leary getting it away, but not very far. Macari, Coppell trying desperately, but Sammy Nelson was in there with greater strength. Nicholl just dunking it in there. So too was Coppell. Albiston turning it back. Young getting it in the air. Well, no, in fact he didn't in the end, but Jordan, although winning it in the air, hadn't enough power to worry Pat Jennings. And here's Brady, who might just worry Arsenal, worry Manchester United. There he goes. Still getting possession. And still keeping possession. Well, the little magician from Ireland there. Sunderland finding Rice. McQueen getting it away to McIlroy. Coppell. And a free kick. Ricks will take it. Towards Stapleton, and McQueen had gone with him. And in fact, it's a corner for Arsenal. Price with the Arsenal corner. Slight lull in the game at the moment, Brian.
Yes, I'm just watching Gordon McQueen. He's headed the ball more than anybody else on the park. He's heading it in both penalty areas. He's working tremendously hard.
And feeling the strain a little bit. I noticed he's just taken his shin guards out and put his socks about his ankles. But here's Thomas. Nice bit of skill. But back to Nicholl. Really pushing forward now. Here's McQueen, done a tremendous job. This time the ball for Buchan. Swept for Jimmy Greenhoff. Played in there towards Coppell and straight at Jennings again. There must be 3 times that United have shot the ball and it's gone straight at Pat Jennings. Brilliant goalkeeper though he is. If it had been just a yard wide of him, certainly on that occasion, that must have been a goal. Which will give United that extra little bit of hope if their hopes were beginning to flag with 21 minutes left. Greenhoff, whose ball it was, played in to Coppell, and a free kick for Manchester United. Coppell with the free kick. Jordan in there. Oh, pretty vicious off break there that Pat Jennings had to get behind. Talbot. Brady switching the attack, but momentum couldn't be kept going by Rice. Willie Young playing it towards Stapleton, who won't keep it in. A throw to Manchester United. And an offside. Brian was saying a few minutes ago that they need a really individual goal from Jimmy Greenhoff now to get United back on course, or indeed from Big Joe Jordan at last to win that battle against Willie Young. In fact, you could go through the United side. A goal from anybody now, no matter how it comes, would be of such enormous value to them. Well, here's Mickey Thomas. And really it's got to come fairly quickly now as we come to the last 20 minutes of the game to give them that chance to build on what they've achieved to then look for the second goal. Because one thing's for sure, they're not looking for a consolation goal near the end, they're looking for a goal that can lead to another one. At the moment it's Coppell. Nicholl. He's played in some good crosses today, but that wasn't one of them. Mind you, on a very hot day, Brian, as teams start to get a bit tired, that's when the mistakes start to creep in. Yeah, the players, some of the players will be out there hoping or thinking that they shouldn't have had that last drink or done that extra last 10 minutes of training and all that type of thing, because this is when you need stamina, especially under these conditions. Rice. Stapleton. So it was out of play. And in fact, you were right, it was out of play. In fact, the very first remark you made this afternoon, you were saying it looks as though Arsenal are pacing themselves for this game today, when they started rather lethargically, it seemed. They'd set the stall out, obviously, not to come at Manchester United. I think if you try and mix it with Manchester United right from the start, then you're inviting trouble. They've defended in depth and they've defended in numbers. And at the moment, they've taken everything that United have thrown at them. Once or twice, luckily, but that's a sign of a good, organised defence.
I think credit must go to Don Howe for this, the way Arsenal play defensively, because this is his strength, in producing sides who don't concede many goals.
Don Howe on the left there. Now Jordan hoping to get the better of Young, and in fact it's a throw for Manchester United. It looked for a moment as though Willie Young might just falter there. Tommy Campbell doing a bit of shouting for Manchester United to Gordon McQueen and Martin Buchan. Greenhoff, Albiston, crossed in there towards Macari. The ball wouldn't quite run for him, and it was poked away in the end by Brady. And here come Arsenal once more with Stapleton. Rice galloping outside him, Sunderland going through the middle, Talbot coming up fast, and they've got 4 against 3 here. Rice playing it in there and nipped away right at the last by Jimmy Nicholl when Alan Sunderland was coming in for what could so easily have been goal number 3. Brilliant play though by Jimmy Nicholl. Good run by Rice, and he was nearly rewarded for it, Brian.
Typical Arsenal break here, magnificent bit of football.
It's a throw for Arsenal, and we now have a quarter of an hour remaining. Brady. They've enjoyed the sun, if the result hasn't quite gone their way. It's certainly going the way of the Arsenal captain at the moment as Brady chips in that long free kick, beautifully handled though by Bailey, and a throw out here to Thomas. O'Leary. Centred so much attention on the battle between Willie Young and Joe Jordan without saying really that David O'Leary has had his usual impeccable game in the number 5 shirt for Arsenal.
You can always assess how good the defenders are playing, Brian, but how much of a kick forwards are getting, and Jimmy Greenhoff hasn't had a kick.
Here we are with Albiston. Crossed in once more. A lot of the red shirts are up there, and that time it was Brady knocking it down above the head of Greenhoff, and here's Sunderland after it. Nelson's gone forward. Talbot, who runs and runs and runs, is after this one as well. What a tremendous burst from one end of the field to the other. In this heat and at this stage of the game, that says an awful lot for his stamina, and then cheekily gets it back here for Graham Rix. An interesting cross if Stapleton can do something with it, but Stapleton was elbowing Albiston, and a free kick for Manchester United. Talbot, Brady, back to Jennings. Liam Brady, who gave away his loser's medal last year because he was so disappointed with his performance and his team's performance, and it looks now as though he might be picking up a winner's medal, which I'm sure he'll want to keep this year.
Shouldn't have done that, Brian. You can't get the true goodness out of victory unless you know what it's like to have lost.
Still goalless at Hampden Park between Rangers and Hibs. It's Jordan. 2 big Scots go for that one, and Willie Young won that in the air. Thomas. it in his stride, floating it in there towards the near post. Oh, Jennings had it and lost it. And there was a free kick and an injury to Pat Jennings as he went up and gathered that one. He really got a smack, and you can see, I think, some blood there at the top of his nose. This is how it happened, Brian.
Yeah, he picks the ball up well here and doesn't see Jordan. And Jordan goes after his coat. Nasty foul, that.
But that big amiable giant from Arsenal is okay to carry on. And a free kick given. Back with Bailey. Thomas. Jordan battling with Young again. And Stapleton beating Coppell, playing it nicely and gently down the line to David Price. Short for Brady. Now this is where Brady, well, you expect him to be dangerous, except that McQueen's long leg stopped him. Macari and Brady having a little affair off the ball there, which referee Chalice spotted and cut out very quickly. Thomas playing it in there, off Rice and through to Jennings. 10 minutes now to go. Strung across midfield, four strung across the back. They've never budged all afternoon, you know, and it's certainly a method which gets you results. Four across the middle, four across the back.
Yeah. They've stuck to it rigidly. They've got support to the front two when they could. Talbot's rang miles, covered every blade of Wembley pitch he has this afternoon. Always does, that's his style of play. Worked tremendously hard.
McQueen, and he's onside, but to no advantage because Jennings was quickly out of his goal to the edge of that box. And Arsenal now are a matter of 8 minutes or so away from putting behind the bad memories of last year and remembering the glories of this. As Nelson plays it forward, but Buchan is there for United. And the United fans, in fact, are chanting Sexton, which is a marvellous act of defiance and loyalty on their part. It hasn't been an easy season for Dave Sexton. He's being criticised from time to time by their fans who expect only the best. But he's produced a side here today that has played with great credit to themselves and to their club, but they're 2 goals down. Thomas. And strangely, it's the Man United fans who are making more noise at the moment, even though their side are down. The usual "we'll support you evermore," showing that even if they're going to lose this cup final, they're not going to lose their friends. But there's an offside there, and a free kick for Arsenal. It's worth pointing out, I think, that the vast majority of them do a fantastic job for their club, Manchester United fans. They go everywhere, they are marvellously supported. but it's the Arsenal fans who've got most to cheer about genuinely at the moment. Thomas. Talbot right back there again, and McIlroy, no, I thought for a moment McIlroy might get the better of him, but here's, Rice, thundered into from behind by Thomas. Just when he might have been thinking about walking up the stairs to collect the cup. A free kick for Arsenal, 6 minutes to go. Just look at that. You would think they were winning, those fans, or at least their side were winning. But just look at that Manchester United support when their side is 2 down and virtually losing this FA Cup final with a matter of 6 minutes now to go. Another free kick. Arsenal bringing on a substitute, Steve Walford. O'Leary planting that free kick forward, and Sunderland, well, only half winning it in the air. Nelson. Brady. And another free kick for Arsenal. And they're taking off David Price. He's a quiet, unspectacular sort of player, David Price, but he gets through a fair day's work. He's done that today, but now replaced by Steve Walford. Do you make anything of that, other than maybe let Steve have a taste of Wembley? With
yes, that's possibly what the thinking behind it. The other lads tended to go out the game in the last 20 minutes.
Macari forward for McIlroy, Brady, and a Manchester United throw. Macari, Nicholl, O'Leary, well, getting above Greenhoff unfairly, and a free kick for Manchester United, which they might want to take quickly now with 4 minutes to go. 2-0 down, and hope now is fast fading for them as Coppell lifts that free kick in there again. It'll come all the way through to Jordan, turning it back in there again, and a goal! And it's given! And McQueen is the man who claims it, and suddenly United are back in the game with 4 minutes left, and who knows what might be produced in those 4 minutes. Here we come again. It came through to Jordan here. I thought the chance had gone, but he knocked it back in there, and it was McQueen who turned it past Jennings into the net. Well, Brian.
Jennings didn't have any chance of stopping that. He couldn't see it. I think Arsenal paid the penalty there for, once again, a crowded penalty area.
Well, are we in yet for an amazing upheaval? 3 minutes to go. Back to Pat Jennings. So the volume will be turned up, the tension will be turned up, and Gordon McQueen's goal has given Manchester United that little bit of hope now. But they must be saying to themselves, if only that had come half an hour earlier, and we'd had something to build on. But wait a moment, here's Greenhoff, touched into Macari. And they'll fight everything now in these few minutes that remain. Their heads not for a moment have dropped, even though they've been up against it for most of the game. Albiston playing that one in there, and O'Leary getting it away. Back for Nicholl. Well, the United fans wanted him to get on with it, and that wasn't a very good ball by him. But here's Coppell, and there's McIlroy getting in there. Can he finish it off? he can! 2 goals in a minute, and suddenly United are back in it. Well, look at that picture, that tells it all. Arsenal were preparing their victory speeches, and now they're dumbstruck. Sammy McIlroy seemed to travel miles there. Turning O'Leary, Walford went in there, couldn't contact him. Jennings came out, and the ball agonisingly just inside the post. What an amazing turnaround. And from behind, we see it again. Just inside the net. Amazingly, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 2. Brian Clough, what on earth do you make of that?
Unbelievable. I'm delighted for them. They've earned it since 3 o'clock. They put themselves back in with a shout.
Well, Sammy McIlroy, what an amazing turnabout. And the scenes on the 2 benches, well, I'm never know. The despair on the face of Don Howe and Terry Neill. But wait a moment, it's there by Sunderland, and they're back in the lead again, and they're off the bench once more. What an amazing cup final. Well, that's when you're at your most vulnerable, when suddenly you've got it all back. They relax for a moment, and Arsenal have punished them for it. Brady leading the charge, Ricks with the cross, and look at Sunderland steaming in there, too high for Bailey, and beautiful for Sunderland. 3 goals in a little over 3 minutes, right at the end of this 1979 Cup final. McQueen right up there, still in the hope now of doing something. But Arsenal now might well be safe, when a minute before they'd begun to totter. But wait, here's Greenhoff. Here in time added on for injuries. Jordan. Greenhoff. Surely not. Coppell. But who knows? Jordan, one last big leap, and Pat Jennings grabbing it under the crossbar. Well, I thought the cup final was beginning to peter out, but suddenly in the last 5 minutes, it'll now go down as one of the most memorable in the history of Wembley. Well, Sunderland's after this one, and Bailey's got him. The last seconds of the game, Jordan winning it in the air, but Arsenal are now composed at the back after wobbling, and poor Dave Sexton there. Sunderland down and injured in the Manchester United penalty area. Jennings gets it away, it's all over! Arsenal have won it! When it seemed a moment ago they threw it away, the 2 managers greet each other. Dave Sexton, sportsman to the end, saying well done to Arsenal. But my word, 5 minutes, I think that anybody here who saw it, and those of you at home, surely will never forget. They can't believe their good fortune. They thought they tossed away the 1979 Cup final, and then they grabbed it back again with that goal by Alan Sunderland, injured there, substitute Steve Walford helping him to his feet. Well, Sammy McIlroy, who thought with that goal that he'd done it, consoled by his Northern Ireland international teammate, Pat Jennings, that's a nice touch. And Gordon McQueen and Willie Young, 2 great old buddies there. 2 Scots there, Martin Buchan and Willie Young. As people all around try to get their breath back, try to get their composure back, and try to work out who on earth won it. Arsenal, of course, and hard luck Manchester United. The scoreboard is exactly right. A smile from Terry Neill when 2 minutes ago there was a scowl. And how those players must be drained physically and emotionally now. McIlroy must truly have thought, with that goal of his after he'd worked so hard, that if anything the pendulum would swing Manchester United's way. And the players being told to swap their shirts, not on the pitch but afterwards. Brady sportingly going to the Manchester United players and saying, well, bad luck. And so Arsenal make up for the disappointment of last season when they were beaten by Ipswich. Manchester United fail right at the very last to take the cup in their centenary year. And Alan Sunderland, who in the end is the late hero with that match-winning goal, is carried off. Well, he's not yet. He's got a bit of trouble with that left ankle. Briefly, Brian, what about that last amazing 5 minutes?
You just want to spend time just letting it sink in. It was an incredible turnabout. Sunderland swung it for Arsenal in the very, very seconds. You just want to enjoy it, think about it, enjoy it, go over it again, as everybody will be doing for the next 2 or 3 days. Delighted faces of the Arsenal lads. They worked hard, and Manchester United helped to make it one of the best cup finals I've seen for years.
Disappointed Steve Coppell, and Dave Sexton going around all the Manchester United players now with an arm round them. But Joe Jordan there, what a disappointed man he must be, because really out of certain defeat there suddenly was the shining possibility of a victory, only to have it snatched away. As Arsenal, after 90 minutes in the heat and turmoil of Wembley, climb those steps. Pat Rice, his 4th Wembley final, but the first time that he as captain will lift the cup. 3 seasons now as the captain, and the proudest moment in his career, because Arsenal make up for last year's defeat and take the cup to Highbury. Already some shirt swapping has gone on with Stapleton and Brady. Well, the people who put the coloured ribbons on that cup right at the last so that they should be the appropriate colours must have changed them left, right and centre in that last 5 minutes. Liam Brady, brilliant part in that second goal. Pat Jennings, Brian Talbot still with enough breath to have a word with the dignitaries in the royal box after all that running. Alan Sunderland hobbling along, but nothing would stop him going up to get his medal there. Sammy Nelson, Graham Ricks, David O'Leary kissing his medal, and Martin Buchan coming up. What disappointment for them. What a shattering way to lose a cup final. Jimmy Nicholl and Gordon McQueen. As Brian Clough was saying, what a brilliant game he had, both at the back and always a menace up front. If you're a neutral, you really have to feel for these fellows who battled and battled and battled some more and thought they'd save themselves. But these are the victors.
It's a beautiful scene, this, for the victors, obviously, going around. But I was just looking at the Manchester United lads as they walked off. They're young enough to be back many, many times. There's a couple on the Arsenal side. Perhaps they weren't sure where they were coming back. So I'm extra delighted for them that they've cracked it. It'll make up for a hell of a lot of disappointment they experienced a year ago.
Well, Arsenal on their lap of honour, barred in fact by a good 3 dozen photographers. There they are. And I hope Manchester United also do a lap of honour, because I think their fans deserve it, and they deserve to get a lap of honour as well. It's the picture you'll see in tomorrow's paper, I suppose. McQueen is absolutely shattered, looking just again for a moment of respite. Well, racing round in front of the Manchester United fans, who are generously waving. There's a man who should be proud, I think, by the way his team battled as well, Dave Sexton.
But look, David, you contributed everything any manager could contribute to a final. You kept plugging away and plugging away and plugging away.
And Manchester United, here Arsenal, but Manchester United also are doing a rather weary lap of honour, which they deserve to do, because, as Brian said, they contributed so much to a memorable final. Well, a beaten manager, and only he can tell you how he feels.
You don't need an interview either, Brian, to understand how he feels. You just look at his face.
David O'Leary with the cup, and the man who's left with the loser's medal, who was third team player at the start of the season, Gary Bailey. And so it is. What an amazing and exhilarating last gasp cup final we've had, with Arsenal 2-0 up. Suddenly, within the space of a minute, we're 2-2, and then within a minute of that, got back to 3-2. Lou Macari is a loser today, but football's been a winner from what we've seen out here at Wembley this afternoon.
I've just been joined by a delirious bunch of Arsenal players. Brian Talbot, you've come over first. You got the first goal, but it really was a game with absolutely storming finish. How did you cope with that?
Well, I think we wanted to make it close in the finish, eh? But it was a bit close to me, you know, but in the finish, what a great goal to win a game, eh?
History maker, eh?
Great.
Did you think it had gone from you, though, lads, when they came back?
Well, it was looking that way, wasn't it? Mind you, I think that we could have had a couple more before they scored.
Right. Well, let's start having a look at the goals, Brian. We'll have a look at the goal that was your first goal of the game, a goal that set Arsenal on the way so well. If you'd like to talk us through it, it's coming up on the monitor down there.
Well, that was oh, here it comes. Where is it?
Wouldn't happen on a BBC.
Coming up in a minute.
Never mind, we'll go to the second one.
Never mind, reception doesn't start till
No.
9.
We're not seeing it, so we're going, Pat. You've gone up and got the cup.
Yeah, tremendous, isn't it, huh?
How does it compare with the double?
Oh, I think it was, the actual final itself was better, because we just won the championship on the Monday.
Yeah.
And as like Frank was saying last night, it was a bit of an anticlimax.
Yes, right.
You know, but this is tremendous.
We bring Alan Sunderland, who gave us that tremendous climax. Alan, stay here, Pat, for a second. No. Alan, yeah. Have you got any breath to describe that winning goal?
Well, I can't remember much about it. I think Rixie beat somebody on the left, didn't you? Rixie?
Hello.
You beat somebody on the left, didn't you?
Talk us through the winning goal.
I can't remember. I know I just hit it over. I'm a bit tired, and
I just come round the back.
Stuck it in.
And I thought Albiston were going to get a touch to it, like, but he just come beyond him, and I just got my foot.
I can't remember how it happened.
Knocked it in.
So what were your feelings at the time? You've come back. We can see the goal now.
How do you like him, Alan?
Get in. And we can see it again from behind, Alan.
No, that's it.
Good cross.
Oh, magic cross, wasn't it, you know? Great cross.
Yeah. Where do you think you seem to have had the game so well won up to that point? Was it just the heat that sapped you in the end and let United get back into it?
No, I think they had to fight back because they 2-0 down, obviously, and they did great. Like, and I think, you know, as so often happens, they got back and
they pulled back the 2 apiece and probably thought, well, that's it, we've pulled it back now, and then maybe they relaxed a little, I don't know, but in cup finals you can never tell, really, can you?
And I'm sure you'll give great praise to your defenders, and we've got David O'Leary here and Sammy Nelson. Sammy, I suppose at one point a month or so ago you might have thought you weren't going to play in this game.
Yes, that's correct, but thankfully the FA let me off. I was able to play today, thank goodness.
Yeah. Well, it was a marvellous start for the side, the goal after 13 minutes, wasn't it?
Tremendous. I think once we got that first goal, I thought we settled down pretty well, although they had a few near,
we can see the first goal here with Frank Stapleton playing it through.
Yeah. Who was it scored? I can't even remember.
Who are you going to give this goal to, lads?
Brian Talbot claimed it and shot it down in Sunderland, so I don't know. Let's have a look now. Where's Brian Talbot?
That's Liam Brady we're hearing.
Who's Brian Talbot there?
It's a goal anyway, it's an Arsenal fella scored it.
Brian Talbot.
Here we see it again from behind. You can see a better view of who got the final touch here.
Yes, yes it was.
Right. Now, Chippy. It's been a wonderful game for you. It really has put behind the memories of last season.
Yeah, well, the fact that we won the cup now, that's the major factor.
Yeah, well, you were very involved in that first goal and indeed with the second goal, which we can have a look at now, where you got away on the right. They were saying that you were coming from deeper positions and then perhaps getting space to break forward into. Was this how it happened?
Well, to tell you the truth, I felt tired all through the game, and it was only then that I really had something to do with the game. Yeah. I felt tired all the way through.
But you certainly had something to do with it here.
I've seen Frank back off now, and I just clipped it with my bad foot.
It looked a simple header, Frank, if you could come in, but in fact, there's quite a lot to do.
Well, when Chippy
we can see it again from behind.
Yeah, Chippy come through with the ball. I thought, well, he's going to beat the next man, and I come off.
You've checked out a little bit here.
Out a bit. As the ball come across, I thought, I've got to head this right, because the goalkeeper was coming back across. I thought I might have got a hand to it.
Right.
He didn't,
What about your feelings now, having put last year totally behind you?
Well, I'm still a bit numb after the game. It's just a few minutes, but I know what it's going to be like later on.
Right. Frank, can we have a word now with David O'Leary? David, you could have so easily, I suppose, had things been a bit different, been a Manchester United player at this time. I guess you're glad that you made the decision to come to Arsenal.
I don't know. I don't know really about that. I know how the lads are feeling, because it's a shocking feeling after what we experienced last year. All credit to Manchester United.
It really
the way
was
they fought back.
A superb game of football.
Yes. You know what? I felt we'd lost it there when they come back 2 goals.
You really felt you'd lost?
Not lost, but they were on top then. I think. I mean, what a team to pull back 2 goals like that.
Right.
I think it was in the last 10 minutes really they pulled it back.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe the way we went up and scored the 3rd goal.
Last year it was tears of despair. Were there a few tears of joy this time?
Yes. I couldn't believe it, but I never thought, I'd get a moment like this. You always, in your schoolboy days, look at games like this, and you never think you're going to be going up those steps to collect the medal.
Well, many congratulations to you, David. Thanks very much indeed. Martin Buchan, a different complexion on things, of course. How are your feelings? You must have thought that at 2-2...
It's the last time you're coming in our bus.
For once we brought you a bit of bad luck.
Well...
But it was a superb game. I suppose in your position it's hard to appreciate that now.
Well, we were disappointed, obviously, fighting back, then losing in the last minute. But that's how it goes in the Cup.
Yeah. Sammy McIlroy, who got the equaliser, you must have thought there that you were putting your side well on the way to winning this FA Cup.
Well, I thought it was extra time, definitely, anyway, and we've came back so many times in the season to do this. I must have fancied our chances. But then to go away and score a goal.
Absolute sickener.
Oh, no doubt about it, yeah, definitely.
What about the game as a whole? You seem to have more of the ball and indeed the better chances. Did you think you were never going to get on the score sheet?
Not taking any credit away from Arsenal, well, I'm pleased for them, but I thought we had that most of the game when they scored on the breakaways.
Right.
That's how the game went.
What about the heat? We got all the goals in a rush at the end. Do you think, in fact, the heat had taken some of the discipline out of the play?
It was pretty warm out there, but I thought that we were adapting it to better than what Arsenal were. They seemed content to holding us and playing on the break.
Yeah.
But we can only play one way, and that's go forward all the time, and that's how the game was going.
Right. Thanks very much, Sammy. Steve Coppell, disappointment too for you. Can you put your finger on what went wrong on the day for United?
I don't know. We seemed to play well, first half. We came in at half-time 2-0 down. and we said if we kept our discipline and kept on plugging away, we'd come back. We were very optimistic at half-time, and it's more or less been our trademark this year, coming back from 2-0 down. Yeah. So when they came away after that and scored the third goal, it was a real killer.
Worst experience you've ever had in football, Steve?
Well, I felt if we'd have gone to extra time, we'd have beaten them because we were on top of the world then. We'd come right back into it. We were playing good football throughout, and I think we were quite confident then. But that's the way it goes.
Well, thank you for coming up and speaking to us in your disappointment, lads. Could I bring Dave Sexton in? Dave, you're a very emotional man. What are your emotions now at the end of a game where you must have thought that it had seesawed finally in your favour?
Well, basically, feel sorry for the lads because we were, they did tremendous because we were under the cosh really practically for the whole 90 minutes. They scored after a few minutes and we were a goal down, so we had to make the running, you know, as best we could right the way through, and we couldn't get a break in the penalty area. No. And we just got our break with 2 or 3 minutes to go. Yes. And then we got another one. So for the lads to hang on for that long and still have enough to get the two back, I thought to myself, at least we deserved extra time.
Right. Can I bring in Don Howe here as well? Don, was that, in the end, I suppose, a marvellous game for the fans, but a bit of a coach's nightmare at the end? Your side lost a 2-goal lead, and I suppose at that point you thought the game might have slipped away from you.
If you're going to extra time, I'm sure that we'd have been up against it. I thought
Terry had come in as well, Terry. Sorry, Don.
They having scored 2 late goals like that, get the initiative, the psychological initiative, and I think we've been really up against it if you're going into extra time.
Well, Terry, you'd go along with that. Would you like to just hold that up for us? And
I've been holding it for 5 minutes or so, and I realise now why they gave it to me. It wasn't because they appreciate me, it's because it's heavy. I just caught the end of what Don was saying, and obviously it was, you know, one hell of a finish, and I certainly wasn't feeling happy if it had gone into extra time. I must be perfectly honest about that.
There's been a lot of talk about you coming back, the tradition of the team losing the previous year and coming back and winning again. I came and saw you training on Monday and felt that your attitude was very good. You must have been pleased totally with the appreciation of that problem and the attitude that your players showed.
Yes, we had the advantage. This year, Dave, I would think, had the problems in terms of the build-up to the final with some fitness doubts, etc. You know, we've had a clear run, so the roles are reversed for us this year. So, you know, I can feel, after last year, how it's been for Dave.
Yeah, it was a tremendous struggle, you know, from both teams. A lot of tension and a lot of effort, and it would have to be the hottest day of the year today. So taking everything into consideration, I think that we've all produced a terrific game.
One of the great finals of all time, Dave. I suppose in the end you might appreciate that, even as a loser.
Yes, oh yeah. Well, I'm very proud of the way we fought back, you know, and we've come out of it with a lot of credit. And but Arsenal were good enough to score the winning goal, so we wish them well.